You're live. Hey, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I am Nerder Doug, and tonight I am hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchist Ted, how are you doing with this fine and lovely evening? Keeping social distances, I hope.
Yes, all things considered, I am doing pretty well. That's the topic for tonight was unseen enemies, and usually our Monday night chat is a Patreon exclusive chat, but we figured with everybody following their guidelines for public safety and health and staying inside and practicing social distancing, maybe you'd want to hang out and chat live with us. So we just made it a public live chat tonight.
There you go.
Okay. So I have not stopped the actual YouTube stream. I just stopped OBS.
I'm showing something now.
So we might be just popping up. It says video frozen.
Do you see us now? Hello, welcome to Nerdarchy. Anybody?
Let's see. I think I fixed it without stopping the YouTube stream. I just would like to get confirmation from the viewers. You just came online. Oh, so we're here. Hey, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I am still Nerder Doug, and tonight I am still hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchist Ted. I apologize for the 10-minute late.
That was all me.
Technology snafus are going to happen. It is what it is. Just hoping that
We're
Doug's
frozen. Man, I don't know. What can I tell you?
So apparently Doug and I were chatting for the last 10 minutes, and you guys missed out on some gold. So we'll try to repeat some of those things and get into it. So yeah.
Well, we started off. I mean, normally this is our Patreon only live chat, and I apologize if the video is freezing up. I am not. I think I have a mutant power to disrupt technology when I touch it, so it's semi working. We're just gonna run with it for now.
Sure.
Maybe I'll tinker with it in a moment. But so yeah, we're talking about unseen enemies, which was kind of a take on the current situation with the coronavirus and all the stay indoors orders, which we are doing, and we're hoping everybody else is following your local guidelines and regulations and staying safe and healthy. So yeah, I'm gonna throw it over to you and tinker with it a little bit.
Sure.
I know you can draw people's.
So related to that whole social distancing and whatnot that is kind of state and government mandated. Dave and I actually had a conversation today. His wife, my sister, is just recovering from surgery, so she is kind of immunocompromised at the moment. So our videos that we're going to be recording for the next several weeks, kind of at minimum, are actually going to be looking like this. We are going to meet remotely, record remotely, and post them like this. We'll see how that's going to look and kind of gauge things as they need be. But it saves Dave the drive over here and drive home. It exposes him and thus that family member to both of us from any harm. My wife is still semi-commuting to work. She goes in, picks up the things that she needs, as she needs them, and then works from home. But that does increase her exposure and thus our exposure. And since neither of us wants to see that said family member have anything happen to, we felt this was the safest for all and the best compromise, so that we could still continue doing videos for you guys and not have the issue of somebody potentially getting sick.
And I'm sure I agreed with everything you said. Wasn't listening, but I know the gist of it. But according to the latest from Tom Harris, all good. So, boom, roasted. There you go.
Awesome. So I was basically saying that our video formats look like this.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
So But unseen foes, I'll kind of revisit the topic that you and I were talking about before we actually got this thing working. We've got unseen foes, but we're also talking about unseen activities and what have you with the social distancing. So you were talking about you and your girlfriend were doing puzzles
Yes.
to kind of keep the minds fresh and keep the activities going, so you've got
Hmm.
something to do when we can't go out and do stuff. I stated that I've decided to put the Craft Forge on overdrive. I've got a massive gaming table. If you've seen any of our gameplays that we've recorded and put up that have been from the Nerdarchy dwelling, you've seen the size of the table, and I've got it completely embarrassingly much coated in crafting supplies and gaming books. And I've just been, hitting it hard, hitting, basically every day doing something. I've got stuff that I'm, going to, be using in my current game that I'm guessing, not that we've talked about it, but it's on hold until, further notice. We haven't discussed whether we're going to try and do remote or whether we're just going to do, just kind of wait. So that's a conversation that needs to happen. But I've done a fair bit of fun stuff, and I've been really enjoying myself and using up some of those old supplies that have been sitting around waiting for just the right project.
Okay.
Now's
Yeah, in addition to puzzles, yeah, like I was saying when nobody could hear us talking, I just got a lot more time to work on Nerdarchy stuff because for me, this is, life as usual. I work at home anyway. Um, so one of the things that we put a lot of work into this week was the Patreon rewards, which is we're calling Hareable Ideas. I'm still not 100% sold on that title, but it is a follow-up to last year's Beardomancy, which is fun to explore those things, and I think we got some cool ideas there. But to circle back around to the topic, yeah, one thing clearly unseen enemies is invisibility and stuff, and I was looking up all the creatures that are just naturally invisible, and there's a lot of them, a lot more than I thought. But before I get to that, I watched The Invisible Man the other day, which is the new movie from this year that went. I think it's just kind of like home release. One of those like one because of the social distancing and stuff.
of course.
Um, and it really made me think like, wow, invisibility. It's like yeah, we all know it's a useful spell, cool ability, but it's like it's pretty scary too. And so thinking of those kind of invisible enemies and unseen enemies and what they can do right in front of your face without seeing them is like
So
pretty diabolical, really.
I will cut you off here and say invisibility is powerful. Greater invisibility is broken.
What? Well, hear me out. What about like an invisible stalker? Now I mean, that's like the ultimate unseen enemy. It's just invisible. Like, there's no conditions to it. It's not like there's a bunch of creatures like a skulk. It's like you can visible in the light of a candle made from the tallow of an unidentified dead corpse and stuff or whatever. It's like they're still away. Invisible stalker's like it's just invisible. It's always invisible. It hits hard. It's a CR6 creature. So it's like, wow. I mean, and then after watching that movie, I'm like, man, you could really. I mean, it could just be following the characters around all the time. I mean, you could even if you have true sight or something, it's just like a vague outline of a humanoid.
Mhm.
So it's like for many levels.
So, all right. So, did you watch that last night?
No, 2 nights ago.
Okay. See, I was going to say this would be a perfect pairing because I know I'm behind the times, but my wife and I watched Now You See Me last night.
Okay,
So I think that would have been completely
that's
ironic, you know,
and that's kind of on topic too. That's the one where the with the like the
the
game with the.
magicians. Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of yeah, Catch Me, the one with the like
No, this
where
was
they were
the
trying
one
to
with
kill each
the
other. The hide and seek. That's what it was called. Sorry.
no, this was the one
Yeah,
with
with
the
Jesse
magicians
Eisenberg and
who
stuff. Yeah,
kind of become bank robbers and whatever have you. I really enjoyed it.
yeah.
I liked the concept of the villain who's supposedly one step ahead the
Mm-hmm.
entire time, and it had a lot of cool twists to it. I really enjoyed the way it flowed. Looking forward to seeing the sequel, which I know is already out, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very easy to go right from one to the other.
Sure.
But seen and unseen. Those are the effects that you're not seeing. So you could definitely play up some of those kind of things. Um,
Yeah, I mean, just as somebody mentioned, like rogues and stealth, and like when I was mistaken, I thought you were talking about that movie. I think it's called Hide and Seek, but it's just like a big house with all these secret passageways. People can get around and everything. That's another great way to have an unseen enemy. Somebody said something that reminded me. Oh yeah, this is normally our Patreon chat. I don't think we mentioned this before. We realized we weren't live. But yeah, normally on Monday nights we do our Patreon only chat, but we figured, with everybody at home, we just wanted to maybe give some people something to do and hang out with us and chat
so,
for a while. So, uh,
so
along
for the
those,
non-patrons, you would say this is normally unseen.
yeah. Ooh, wow, that's like a deep, nice one. Inception. Um, And and along those same lines, I should mention that we made a special coupon code for the store. It's Stay Nerdy, all one word, and any three adventures and supplements over there you can get for free on the house. The coupon just applies it to the three most expensive things of that category, which are all like digital PDFs of fifth edition content that we make every month for our Patreon. People get early access to that, and there might have been a little few revisions and art and things like that in the final product. So
But you don't have to go over to my house and sit on my roof to read it.
yes,
Just because they're on the house doesn't mean you need it.
yes, they're on the digital house though. You do have to go
Yes.
on the roof of the Nerd Ecke store and read them.
But there's a lot of fun products. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things that we've enjoyed putting together. We've a lot of things that we've used in our own games.
Mm-hmm.
That make it into those things. So we really want to help people get to more gaming and get access to more material. And can't strongly urge enough the social distancing. Still game remotely, still
Yeah.
get out
That's
there
how
and do
I always
stuff.
game.
Um,
I don't even have an
but
in-person group.
it's one of those things that you still want to game, you still want to connect with people. We still want to have that capacity to um, you know connect with people. It's something that breaks the monotony, and it breaks um, the weight of
Hmm.
isolation. So if you've got the ability to hang out with people online and game, it's definitely going to help. I know a number of different companies out there are giving things away, doing things on sale, promoting virtual tabletop platforms, whatever it is their preference. Um, however you're going to do it.
Yeah.
We typically we don't use a VTT. We just hang out through Zoom typically. That's our preferred, and theater of the mind works for us for that. uh,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And to kind of correlate that with like the real world stuff and the game stuff, how I love to do that with our chat topics. A lot of those things you're saying are kind of a way to react to these unseen enemies and like take ownership and do something positive with it. It's just like, well, I mean, yes, this is a very challenging time and everything, and it sucks. But we want to be safe and stuff. So it's just like, well, maybe you'll discover new friends. I mean, we had an article the other day about, as many people do, just like ways to game online. Because a lot of people don't know, if you only have your home group, it's like, never even considered it. I mean, I got a friend that just plays like on his phone with us, like on video chat, it's just like, it's not that
Hmm.
hard. And of course, there's a whole gamut of things, Discord and virtual tabletops and all that stuff. But yeah.
Absolutely. So going back to unseen enemies, so that we can kind of get into the meat and potatoes of the topic. You already
Sure.
mentioned how powerful invisibility is,
Yeah.
and all of the iterations therein. Whether you've got the invisibility spell, the greater invisibility, or all of the monsters that are just naturally invisible.
Hmm.
You have just the making a hide check and setting an ambush. I think it's important to offer over the scope of an entire game, times when, as the GM, you were the one doing the ambushing, and times to give the players the ability to ambush the enemy. It changes the um, weight of the encounter.
Yeah.
When you have the surprise round, you can have a lot of fun with it. but that's not the only way that you can have an unseen enemy. If you've got the capability of moving in and out of combat, because your movement speed is that fast, or because there is a
Like a
particular.
quickling.
I was building up to that,
Yeah.
but yes, the quickling, you can literally move, in and out of combat areas, being blatantly not seen. The Tabaxi could kind of do it, a little, but not as well, depending upon how you build them up.
Hmm.
Tabaxis will never be as fast as quicklings. Um, you've got things that have the natural camouflage, things that are legitimately, hey, I don't care how much your hackles are up. I'm not a bad guy until I move. So like your things like your gargoyles, your animated statues, your
Yeah,
Ruggles
yeah.
violet fungus, all of your mimics. And there's a number of companies out there that love doing stuff with mimics. I've got a supplement that was put out. That's like 50 terrible mimics or something along those lines. I know a
I
company
wonder
that
if
I
there's a place where mimics come from where just everything is a mimic, including like the island that they're on and stuff.
that I don't know. I don't know enough. Like I love mimics at their concept, but I don't know much about their lore.
Yeah. Well, you can always just make up
Um,
your
but oh, that is true. I mean, that's something I've highly considered doing.
own.
And then I don't know if you had made mention of this, but Frag, fan of the channel, awesome guy. I've gotten to game with him quite a bit. He made basically had said that in a higher level game, stealth skill with expertise and reliable talent is basically like, yeah, that dude's basically invisible during my games. I was actually having a conversation yesterday and was like, yeah, I think rogues are the most powerful class in the game. There's so many things that they can build upon, and with as many expertise as that rogues get, and then you combine that with reliable talent,
And they
you
they
know,
don't have like an exhaustible resource
yeah,
that they
it's
have to manage like fighters. It's like there's nothing. I mean, like champion fighters, is that there's no other
so
stuff
like
that they're gonna run out of.
for me, if somebody said, make a 20th level character and make him as powerful as possible, I would highly consider doing 18 levels of rogue and 2 levels of fighter to get the action surge.
Yeah, yeah.
Because action surge is the other thing that's broken.
Now,
So
it's funny, you mentioned, the high stealth skill and everything. There's one instance where that would be better than invisibility, because one of the things I was looking up is a Tressym, which has innate ability to detect invisibility, right?
yeah,
They just see it. So I was like, oh, that'd be a great familiar to have, or, companion in a campaign featuring a lot of invisible things.
mhm,
But you're not invisible, you're just hiding. So it's like when, you could foil the
correct.
senses of the Tressym.
So then
But
you
yeah,
would just
there's
want that cloak of elven kind to throw on, and bam.
Yep. But yeah, there's a lot of things with conditional invisibility. Like you said, not only just the camouflage, there's like a Nereid, which is like when it's in the water, it's invisible. Or
Mhm.
like I said, a skulk. I think it's like unless it's in the light of like a tallow candle made from like the like a dead man's corpse,
Yeah,
like in an
yeah.
unidentified grave or something. It's like which is a great awesome folklore thing to learn like but it's a low level creature. I actually was kind of intrigued by it 'cause I'm like wow, that'd be a cool like low level sort of quote unquote boss monster to like investigate and stuff and just, to like find out that you could see it that way and stuff like that. Yeah, burrowing. Oh, geez, I didn't even think of that, Steve. Yeah, burrowing monsters are unseen. Yeah, I mean that's their whole shtick, right? It's just like
Purple
boulets and
worm,
purple. Yeah,
maze,
yeah. I mean that's
do
like,
all kinds of stuff there.
yeah,
Like
shape changers.
yes, anything with alter self or shape change,
There's
shape
a
shift.
thing. I think it's probably in Volos. They're called a Dwargar Cavalrachni, and it's a just a a variety of Dwargar warriors. But they have a thing called shared invisibility, and it's like a group of them can just like turn invisible and their steeds and just like remain so like as if they were
Wow.
concentrating indefinitely. And so I was like, wow, that's pretty neat.
I am not familiar with that stat block. That's something I'm going to have to look at just for the sheer uniqueness of, essentially a shared concentration.
Yeah, yeah. I just searched invisibility on D&D Beyond and filtered it by monsters. So I've got all the things like pixies. Pixies can just remain invisible like as long as they want, basically.
Yep.
Pretty
So we
interesting
have a
stuff.
we have a question
Oh
from
wow. Okay.
from Bragg,
Hmm.
and he says, "Is a mimic able to turn its stickiness on and off, or is it always sticky?"
I'm inclined to say mechanically it would always be sticky because it just has that property and it doesn't say it, you know. Oh, although it must be able to, or it wouldn't be able to move at all, right? Because it would just be stuck to the floor. Where, like, how did
So
it get there? So it must, yes, I would say,
logically,
yeah.
to me, logically, I would say yes. I would say it's got the ability to turn it on and off as it so desires. Because I mean, technically, it's like, okay, you go to, let me try to open up the chest, and oh no, I'm stuck to it. But all right, well, how does it eat you? Like, if you're stuck to it,
Yeah.
how does
Also,
it pull the rest of you in?
do they sleep? Are they sticky then? Like, do they have to concentrate on being adhesive, or is that just their natural state? It's like, what if you just touched a chest and you'd meant to be a mimic that's like, it was sleeping, just wasn't sticky at the time? Questions about mimics
I,
tonight. They're intriguing.
yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
it's a classic monster. It's perhaps the epitome of that variety of unseen enemy. I mean, back in the day, oh man, like I guess it would just be a form of mimic now. But do you remember lurkers and trappers? It was like I remember the picture in the monster manual. I think the trapper was the floor, and it just would like like the picture. It was just like whoop like
yes.
that, and the lurker just was the ceiling, and basically like a giant dark mantle. But yeah, I mean everything was there. Were, anything could have killed you back in the day, and now too, I suppose.
I know I love making mimics and making them out of bizarre and interesting things. Like everybody suspects the the um the treasure chest. In my last game, and we've talked about this before, but they went into a tower, and the 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 tower really tested the players with the different ideas of thought that the mage was dealing with. Um, but I had essentially like bear traps or man traps
Mm-hmm.
that were mimics.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Just
Uh,
yeah, this is like in your
and
recent campaign, right?
yeah, yeah, it was set. I happen to remember, because of a particular formula of how I built that campaign story arc. It was session 4,
Oh
and
boy, I guess this
uh,
and it's lagging really bad now. Lag is beyond horrid. Man, I don't know what's going on here. I mean, it looks fine over here. This CPU thing is green and doesn't say there's any dropped
I
frames.
my video play is not really moving on my device, but I don't know. Um,
Boy,
Dave's headphones fix everything. But
phones
basically,
fixing.
the man trap was a fun thing because one of the players decided to grab the man trap to use it on the bad guy that was in the room, and he of course gets stuck to the mimic. So I thought that was a lot of fun.
Hold on a second.
Yep.
Trying to get tech support here on the side.
So I mean, I will throw out there if you happen to, be here watching this / listening to this, and you are free tomorrow evening over on Erasmus Expedition. I will be part of Help Action tomorrow night live with host and owner of the channel, Jeremy. He is a fellow player in the Thursday night game that I am in for the Dawnbringers. So you'll get to see, us chatting away about a variety of different topics. He is my cousin from that campaign, so if I imagine there'll
Oh,
be a little bit of reminiscing and dwarf talk, because it'll be just the two of us.
mm-hmm. Boy, well, let's see. I'm still working on it. I don't know. Nobody, we could be frozen. Hopefully not. Let's see. Nobody's saying anything. I'm trying a few things here.
The mimic carriage.
Jeez. Are we still? The lag suddenly got really bad, refreshing every few seconds. Boy. Yeah, like I said, Dave's trying to help on the side here, but I don't know. I mean, I don't have any other things open. So nothing's eating up that. Gee, I just don't know.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, me either.
I mean, do we just continue going? What
Yeah,
do you want to
I
do, sir?
don't know. Yeah, I mean, we can still chit chat. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, can any? Well, there's still 33 people in the chat. I don't know what they can see or hear. So that's a problem, right? Nobody's really saying
Uh,
anything. So I don't know if they can hear us. Let's
I
ask
mean,
them.
they've
Let's just
been
ask.
talking.
Boy. Let's see. I'm gonna check it out on my phone. I can hear us. Is it just frozen? We can just see our faces. Everyone is home using their internet. Doug, step away from the electrical device. I don't know. I'm gonna guess they can hear us. If they can't, whatever. They'll say
So
something.
we'll just continue on
Yeah,
and struggle
sure.
forth
Sorry,
and
sorry for the
all
pause,
that
folks.
stuff.
This is my bad.
So all right, so we've added invisibility, hidden, naturally camouflaged, mobile, burrowing, all to our unseen categories. Did we have anything else that was on?
Yes, it's actually my favorite kind of unseen enemy, and that's the kind when I'm the DM and I have no idea what the enemy is going to be in the campaign. And our team game is a perfect example of that. Spoilers to you, since you play in that game. But I rarely have any, you know, like pre-plan of like who like a villain that's going to be doing something. I have a few ideas for just like adventures around the area, but I just kind of like go with the flow and see what the players are interested in. I had no, plan or thought to use a hag in any way in your game. I had no clue that you guys would even want to do that for an adventure what you are pursuing. So to me, that was a fun discovery to be like, okay, I guess that's what because I always consider these, in these fantasy worlds, it's like it's just riddled with unseen enemies, right? I mean, there's everything from just imagine our own regular world, except with all these creatures lurking about. It's like there's a little local cemetery. Maybe there's a necromancer there who's gonna raise zombies out of the ground, or there's like a rift to the abyss and we'll just open in somebody's chicken coop, right? Or whatever. So, in that regard, it's just like, these. I guess I never set out thinking like these are going to be like epic heroes who are going to like stop the death curse or, like solve the giant ordning or whatever. It's just like, whatever. There's just all kind of creatures doing stuff in the world. So it's like, whatever they meander towards, that's their enemy.
So I kind of like look at D&D differently than I did many years ago. To me, I used to think like, all right, well, once you get to like 10th 12th level, like you're stopping massive threats to your continent and what have you, and by the time you're 20th level, you're saving the world and slaying gods and this and that kind of stuff. Like um I, and to me, I think this thought is, let me start, to me that thought pattern now is wrong. I look at that and I say, you really can have any kind of arc, across any kind of level that you want. Um, with my old, my last game that I ran, it, they were 10th level and they were defeating one dude who was, powerful enough to take over a small area. And it was, a fun 12 session arc. Players, players basically picked who their bad guy was. I've run games where when I started, I had no idea who the bad guy was and what the final story was. But when I went into that last one, because they said I want 12 sessions, I had to have that information going in. I couldn't I couldn't have it figured out along the way, because there wasn't enough time to really explore all of that, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Sure.
But now, like, I'm back to more of my open-ended style where it's like, yeah, well, let's just see where this winds up going.
Hmm.
I've got ideas, but I don't necessarily need to solidify all of them because we'll
Yeah.
see, what storylines are bit on and where that story winds up going.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I look at games anywhere like let me ask you. You've played with me a few times. Like my goal is to just like create an experience where you feel like your character just lived in the world.
Hmm.
Like they don't set out to do anything great. It's like they are adventurers who live in the world, and they just kind of discover what they're going. I
You,
do want to take
you
one
wanna
second though,
Sure.
as we're getting close to we usually go for an hour. It is the very last day that the pledge manager is open for out of the box encounters for fifth edition. So I just wanted to let everybody know that that is going to be closing at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time tonight. So right before the day turns. And you can still get all the book and the PDF and the add-ons and all the custom dice and all that kind of stuff. Oh, Dave suggests turn off my camera. Okay. Should I just shut Zoom down? Anyways, let me finish my spiel. But yeah, it's all at pre-sale prices and everything, so you can still get in on that because we're about to send the book to the printer, and at that point, it'll be locked in. So I'm going to put a link to the pledge manager in here for everyone.
All right. So while you're doing that, Zareth has a question, and we apparently missed it. Says in a Star Wars game, we're about a 2 year time gap where we can decide the story of what happens in those 2 years. So my question is it okay to change it up a bit if it makes sense for the character? So if you've got essentially the way I'm reading this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Zareth, but the players are giving a 2 year time gap to do whatever they want, and you want to kind of change up your role playing or change up character goals. I think both of those kind of things are cool. I don't think you're gonna change up skill set, but I think that's still still seems like it's completely doable.
What was the? I'm sorry, I was turning off our camera. It says
So
Patreon and
basically,
Azure.
you
Oh
said
well, yeah. Somebody.
there's a 2 year time gap.
Oh,
Can he
okay.
make changes to his cat to the character? And I was thinking, whether it be role playing or goals, I think both of those things are kind of appropriate.
Is it okay to change it up a bit? I'm not sure I understand. In a Star Wars game, we're about a 2 year time gap where we can decide the story of what happens in those 2 years. It's okay to change what up? You're creating it together, aren't you? The time.
So I'm saying my guess is either the way he role plays his character,
Mm.
personality, or
Oh
character
yeah, yeah.
goals.
2 years. That's a long time.
So like
I've
I think
changed a lot in 2 years.
you can have a massive personality change or
Yeah.
massive change of character goals over those 2 years. Um, so if you're talking about something else, I would say throw it in there. But yeah, and now now they're talking about us using stealth because we're now unseen.
Yes, and see, that was our plan the whole time. to play with the theme, right? We wanted it to be chappy. No, I'm just kidding. We totally did not want that. It was all me doing I don't know what casts darkness.
So we lost you down to Nerdarchy cast darkness. Funny, funny, funny.
Oh, you know, another
Um,
I one thing I was wanted to mention sort of goes along with you know, like discovering these enemies as the players play, is players can be awesome at creating their own enemies, right? I mean, you know, how many? I'm sure this has happened to you. I know it's happened to
oh,
me many
definitely.
times where it's like they'll just something you say or whatever will just set them up. Oh, actually, a lot of those out of the boxes. That's some of the included, like, you know, complications or tips to continue on with them is like, you know, there's a good chance players might be interested. Like if you just throw something out there thinking like, oh, this is a fun detail. Next thing you know, they're gonna have their own nemesis and stuff, and you're like, I just thought it was like a cool picture on the tapestry in the room or whatever, you know. But it's like, oh no, like that's means something or whatever, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, uh, oh yeah. I mean that's kind of stuff that I think is a really great thing, because you got the capability of putting something like that in a place that players might commonly go to,
Hmm.
and then realize that it's been there the entire time, and like, oh, all of a sudden, look at this, we're gonna go to somewhere that we haven't been, even though we could have for all of this time.
Hmm.
We do have a question from
Okay.
Tex Farrell.
Okay.
Has anyone exploited the rogue sneak attack with Commander Strike? Like the whole party takes martial adept feat and just keeps telling the rogue to attack.
Honestly,
I've never seen a whole party do it, but it has been done with the Gobelos in um, Dave's game, the Vargarian game, because the one goblin is a battle master and the other goblin is a rogue assassin.
Mhm.
So he has used Commander Strike on the other goblin numerous times, and when we've seen that the rogue hit for over 120 points of damage, it's pretty disgusting.
Oh, real quick, I do have something to weigh in on that. I wonder if Zerfment changed the movie timeline. In which case, yeah, of course, it's your game. You can change whatever you want. I mean, it's your
So
story.
if yeah, if you're the game master, and
Or the players, yeah. I mean, if it's
well, I mean, if you're the game master and you're telling the players, hey, you've got 2 years, do what you like. Well, now you've got the ability to do as you want. If you're the GM, you have full control over what's happening behind the curtains. Hey, you know what? Luke didn't stop the Emperor. Luke died. Yep, that's totally doable. You have now
that is what
massive.
happened in the movies.
No, Luke did not stop the Emperor. Luke died. No, I'm talking about in.
I know.
I'm talking about episode
I
6.
know.
Um,
I'm just being snarky.
sorry, was I was going to the original
Yeah, I
trilogy,
know. I know.
not 9.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm just being snarky. Um, to Tex Farrell's question, you know, and again, Ted, you've played with me quite a few times now. My games just aren't. I mean, it would be fun, I guess, in the right kind of game, but like, it's not a huge part of my games. Like crunchy combat, and it's like, if I ran a game and the players all did that, then they would just have a really easy fight during that session because it's like there's usually only one or two fights. So,
right.
and I'm
And
kind of a pushover. I mean, if Nick's still hanging around, he can attest to that.
so I mean, I look at what do you call it, when you're planning this kind of stuff, like you have to ask, like, how important are these kind of scenarios.
Yeah.
If combat is super important to you and your game, then you want to exploit all of these different things. If combat isn't,
Hmm.
well, then so what? Do as you will.
Yeah.
To me, combat is it's part of the game. It's not a necessary component. It's not something that I want to make sure happens in every single session. I plan for it, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Although I will
My game
say,
Friday night only had one.
yeah. I will say though, yeah, when we played our team game, I think you fought a couple of giant bees.
Hmm.
That was about it. Talked away out of a lot of stuff, which a lot of players love doing, or befriending things. Um,
Well,
I
yeah,
will
they were
say
super.
though that like those kind of specific things where it's like, oh yeah, the whole party's like this, and we do a lot of videos like this. I actually like those as a GM because I would love to have a campaign where like that was what it was about. You know what I mean? Like it kind of reminds me of like things we've talked about, like the Spell Duelist campaign or like the
Hmm.
Familiar Battles campaign. It's like, well, that's what they do. So
Right.
it's sort of like you can still have all the dramatic elements of a regular campaign. It's just like, so maybe that is representing the fact that like, they travel around getting in one-on-one battles with, like other contenders like gladiators or something. It's like that's what their team does. It's like they all, just get that
Well,
guy to race around and stab everybody with daggers or whatever. And then you could have
I
and
mean,
then you
really,
could have like, encounters. It's like, well, they're designed to be challenging for that party and it makes sense in the game. And you can start getting really tactical and just if like obviously players like that they're gonna like the crunchy tactical combat, right? So it's like so yeah, just play a game like that where like there is not as much other stuff. It's just about that. Like the dungeon is the fight.
right. And actually, some of the I want to step off topic for
Sure.
or step on a question and off of that topic that you're talking about. But we'll get back to that. So technically, they're talking about darkness and the unseen. That actually is another way to use unseen threats, because I did this in a one session in my Narcitas game, and you would be amazed at how many spells say at a target you can see. So magic missile is useless in darkness. If you can't
Hmm.
see your enemy, you can't use that spell. And there are a number of spells that's like, nope, no, no, no rolling with disadvantage. You just can't do it because you must see your target.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a powerful piece of text, right, in design work that you
Yes.
must see them.
Hmm.
It just came up when I was going over the Patreon rewards yesterday. I forget exactly what the ability, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna leave off that you must see this thing because it's like I forget what it was. I think it was something from the beauty domain cleric. Um, and I was like, maybe they don't have to see it. So
Right.
you
Right.
know and
And
I was thinking like, well, what if they're invisible? I'm like, well, it was a channel divinity, that's right. And I was like, well, you're invoking the power of your god to choose an entity that's in range, so I could see that being an invisible thing. Why not?
So I mean, you just go for it, and you got to make that design choice when you're creating that stuff.
Mm.
But I ran a session, and I used underpowered monsters, and it was a dungeon crawl, and it was completely and utterly magical darkness. The spell magic didn't work. Lights, nothing that created light actually did anything, and it was utterly ridiculous to have these players, stumbling around and people like complaining because they're rolling disadvantage on
Mhm.
everything. They're limited on their spell choice. And it was um like, I don't want this to come across as egotistical, but it was empowering as a DM to really just neuter your players
Mm.
who have been overconfident for a while. Um, and I think that's something that I think DMs need to, do every once in a while, is to humble the players. Be like, all right, you think you've got all of this power, but you can be put in a position where some of that power is taken away. Um, so, you can have fun with that kind of stuff. So that is a whole nother avenue that I wasn't even really thinking about. And it wasn't until you cast darkness on both of us, Doug, so that our lovely fans out there don't get to see
Yes.
our nerdy faces. But that is absolutely 100% true. Lots of fun. Mess
um
with your players'
Yeah,
heads and where they're going.
the one thing we have in the store, Gaze of the Void Eye, I believe it's called. Like that is
Mhm.
the premise of that. Like you're in a dungeon, it's like it's just there's darkness and it just is unavoidable.
It
Like
persists. Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like you know, if you have Devil's Sight, I forget, you know, it's worded mechanically, but it's like you just can't see it. Like there's nothing. Like light doesn't work. You can't dispel it. Like Devil's Sight doesn't work.
Oh wow, Devil's Sight doesn't work.
Yeah, so
That's
it's like the adventure is finding your way through the deck, just like Megan wrote that stuff, and it's like you know, there's a it's part of the adventure is like trying to find navigate these rooms and stuff, and there's like
wow.
little mini games sort of in it to do that.
They do a great job
Yeah.
with all of those. So I'm definitely impressed.
Hmm.
We were actually having a conversation Sunday about the next thing that they're working on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, you mean for not like June or whatever?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So lot of fun. I'm not even gonna tease it out at this point in time, but it was definitely definitely fun. Work and shop a couple of things, and you know we were
I'm
talking.
excited about these April ones. In
Yeah.
these last few minutes. I don't know. I had this. I felt that same kind of like razzle dazzle as when we were working on Beardomancy last year. So we were
Mhm.
following that up, and you know,
Well,
there's subclasses for like
and
barbarians.
while the name is not sold to you, I absolutely love the concept of Hannibal idea.
Oh yeah, in lieu of coming up with something like at the 11th hour, I'm leaving it. I mean, the the design file has that on it right now, and it's fine.
Nice.
I'm cool with it. But yeah, I had a
So
lot of
if you
fun.
happen to be
Oh,
so if
good.
you happen to be in the chat and you are not a Patreon supporter, this is not a sales pitch to be like, oh my God, in this time of crisis, I want, your $2. But if you are in a position and you feel that you want to support us and you want to get access to the Barbarian subclass that is coming out as a nod to last year's Beardomancer, this is going to be a way that you can absolutely do it, along with, lots of other great things that are going to be in this product. But
Yeah, I can give you a quick rundown if you want. I mean, real
yeah,
quick.
go for
So
it.
there's the Way of the Gorgon, which is a monk path where your hair is like prehensile and you can like do poison attacks with it and petrify people with it at higher levels. There's the Shaggy Soul Sorcerer, which is a sorcerer that can just like becomes like basically a Sasquatchy sort of thing with like magical hair, and because the energies of the beard dimension have bled out. Into all these other classes. There's the barbarian, like Ted said. There's the beauty domain cleric, which sort of enhances, it recognizes the inherent beauty of all things. I had a lot of fun creating that one with Megan. And there's one more. Oh, there's the Weaver Rogue, who's like a master of like weaving things using ropes and just like tight wire axe and things like that. And there's one more. Oh, the Oath of Vanity Paladin, who's takes an oath to uphold their luscious locks. So it's fun stuff. And if you want, you can check out Beardomancy, like I said earlier, for free basically right now in Nerdarchy the store. If you stay nerdy, you can get any 3 adventures and supplements that you want. You can pick them out. Just apply the coupon code in the cart, and it takes off the cost of the top 3 most expensive adventures and supplements in there. So give you something to do at home while you're staying indoors. Go check out Gaze of the Void Eye, like Ted said. There's plenty of unseen enemies in that. Everything. Good luck.
So
Planer's trip to the
lots of
Planar
fun.
Zoo has a lot of unseen enemies too. You don't even realize where you are in the
Yeah.
biome of the Planar Zookeepers. That's a fun one. Actually,
Yeah.
there's a lot of unseen enemies on Lord of Dead Dreams. Wait, I didn't realize that. So yeah,
This
go
is
check out
apparently
Nerd IQ the store. We specialize in unseen enemies.
our enemies are so
Yeah,
unseen.
we
We
didn't.
don't even remember